अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मेरा नाम सलमान शाहिद है और मैं रेहान स्कूल इस्लामाबाद F8 कैंपस में फाउंडेशन लेवल का स्टूडेंट हूँ। और आज के मेरा टास्क है, मैंने माया से द वर्ल्ड वुड द बैकबोन ऑफ अर्ली सिविलाइजेशन के बारे में बात करेंगे। सबसे पहले माया के साथ कॉल कनेक्ट करते हैं।
Hey
हाय
there.
माया, हाउ आर यू डूइंग टुडे? आर यू डूइंग फाइन?
Glad to hear it. Since you've been on a roll with these deep dives, do you have a new topic on your mind today?
Yeah, I'm having new topic today, and the word is wood. You know, the backbone of early civilization. I'm going to ask you some questions regarding like these words step by step, so you can guide me about this further, and you know, can add some interesting topic in it. All right. So, my first question is, what is wood?
Wood is such a foundational topic. It's basically the original building block for everything humans created for a long time. At its simplest, wood is the hard, fibrous, structural tissue found in the stems and roots of trees and other woody plants. It's essentially a complex organic material made up of cellulose and lignin, which is what gives it that strength and rigidity that allowed us to build everything from the first shelters to massive ships. I'm ready whenever you are. Where do you want to go from here?
Yeah. So, how is wood formed?
It's actually a pretty cool process that happens right under the bark. It all starts in the cambium, which is this thin layer of growing tissue. This layer produces new cells. It pushes some toward the outside to make bark and others toward the inside to create xylem. That xylem is what we call wood. These cells act like tiny straws, pulling water and minerals up from the roots to the leaves. And as the tree grows, those straws harden and pile up year after year, creating those rings you see when a tree is cut down. Does that make sense? Or do you want to dive deeper into the chemistry of it?
Yeah, it kind of makes sense for me. And why is wood so important?
It's hard to overstate it. Wood basically unlocked the door to human progress. First off, it was our primary fuel. Before we had coal or gas, fire meant wood, and fire meant warmth, protection, and the ability to cook food, which actually helped our brains grow. Then there's the construction side. Because it's strong but relatively easy to carve and join, it gave us the ability to build permanent homes and tools. And we can't forget transport. For thousands of years, if you wanted to cross an ocean or move goods along a river, you needed wood to build a boat. It's really the material that allowed us to move from just surviving to actually building civilizations.
All
I
right.
can tell
So,
you about some of
what are the main uses of wood?
it's honestly everywhere once you start looking for it. Beyond the big stuff like houses and ships, wood is the backbone of so many things. You've got furniture, flooring, and the paper we use for books and notes. And there's the more specialized stuff like musical instruments. Think of how a violin or a guitar depends on the specific type of wood to get that perfect sound. And of course, there's the energy side with firewood and charcoal still being vital for millions of people around the world. Are you more interested in how we use it today or how people used it in the ancient world?
And why is wood called a natural resource?
It's called a natural resource because it's a material that occurs naturally in the environment and can be used by humans to survive or create value. Unlike something we synthesize in a lab, wood is produced by the earth through biological processes. It's essentially a gift from the ecosystem that we harvest. The resource
Yeah.
part comes in because it provides us with essential things like shelter, fuel, and tools. Since it can grow back if we manage it right, it's it's specifically a renewable resource, which is what makes it so sustainable compared to something like mining for metals. Do you think we've gotten too reliant on it, or do we still treat it with enough respect?
Yeah. And my next question is, what are the trees made up of?
It's like a giant living machine. If you look at a tree as a whole, it's mostly made of water, carbon, and minerals. But structurally, it's broken down into a few key parts. You've got the roots for stability and water, the trunk for support, and the leaves for energy. On a
Yeah,
deeper level, the actual stuff that makes up the tree is primarily cellulose, which is like the skeleton of the plant, and lignin, which is the glue that holds it all together and makes it hard. It's a wild balance of being flexible enough to bend in the wind, but strong enough to stand for hundreds of years. Do you want to know more about how those different parts work together, or maybe what's happening inside the leaves?
yeah. So I'm having this question. Have you ever heard about timber? Can you put some light on it?
I have. Um, Timber is essentially just the industrial term for wood. While wood is the general material, timber usually refers to wood that has been processed into beams or planks for construction. When someone talks about the timber industry, they're talking about the whole business of harvesting trees and turning them into usable building materials. It's basically the bridge between a standing tree in a forest and the frame of a house. Does that clear it up, or were you
Yeah,
thinking of it in a different way?
yeah. It kind of makes sense for me, and you helped me a lot about the word timber. My next question is, why has wood been important throughout history?
It's really the story of how we stopped just adapting to nature and started shaping it. Historically, wood was the ultimate multitasker. Didn't just give us a place to sleep, it gave us the tools to hunt and the heat to survive winters that would have otherwise been lethal. Think about the first great leaps in technology: the wheel, the plow, the first ships. All of those started with wood. It allowed
Yeah.
humans to migrate, trade across continents, and build cities that could actually last. Without it, we wouldn't have had the printing press, which literally changed how human knowledge is shared. It's almost like wood was the plastic of the ancient world, just way more sustainable.
All
Do you think
right.
our lives
Can you
would have?
tell me about the difference between wood and timber?
It's a subtle difference, but it really comes down to the context. Wood is the general term for the biological material itself, like if you're talking about the texture of a tree or the material of a pencil. Timber, on the other hand, is the commercial or construction term. It's wood that's been specifically prepared, cut, or designated for building things. So a tree in the forest is wood, but once it's chopped down and processed into beams for a house, it's timber. Does that distinction click for you?
Yeah. My next question is the wood considered renewable? If yes, then how it is possible? Like how it can be?
It def it definitely is. It's possible because trees are living organisms that can be replaced. As long as we plant a new tree for every one we cut down, the cycle continues and the resource replenishes itself through natural growth. It's a bit like a bank account where you can keep withdrawing as long as you keep making deposits.
All right. And why is wood called the backbone of early civilization?
Because without it, we basically would have been stuck in the Stone Age. Think about every major leap we took early on. We needed wood for the fire that cooked our food and kept us warm, the tools that helped us hunt, and the shelters that protected us from the elements. Then, once we wanted to expand, wood gave us the wheels for carts and the hulls for ships to explore the world. It was the one material that was strong enough to build with, but versatile enough to be shaped by hand. It's called the backbone because it supported every single pillar of early society: food, shelter, and travel.
All right. So how did early humans use wood?
I think you might have meant wood. Since we've been talking about the backbone of civilization, I'm guessing you're asking how early humans used wood. Ah,
Yeah.
food. Assuming that's the case, they used it for everything from crafting the first spears for hunting to building basic lean toes for shelter. Plus, they used it to keep fires going, which was a total game changer for survival. Did I catch that right? Or were you actually pivoting to a conversation about food?
Yeah. So my next question is, what was the first tool made up of wood? Was it?
Wait, I think we're having a little mix up with the words. You're asking about the first tool made of food, but tools are usually made of materials like wood, stone, or bone. Food is what we eat.
No, no.
Did you mean to ask what the
I'm
first?
asking about
My
the
bad, I
tool.
might have.
The tool. Like, what was the first tool made up of wood?
Got it. My mistake. I was definitely overthinking the food part. It's hard to pin down a single first tool because so much of it decayed over thousands of years, but the most likely candidates were simple digging sticks and spears. Early humans probably just found a sturdy branch and sharpened the end with a rock to reach tubers in the ground or hunt small game. It's a far cry from a skyscraper, but it started everything. Do you think it's wild how a simple stick basically launched human technology?
Yeah, it kind of,
It really is.
shocking. And how did wood help humans survive?
It basically gave them a huge advantage over everything else in the wild. A sharpened stick meant they could hunt from a distance instead of getting too close to a dangerous animal, which is a massive win for staying alive. Digging sticks allowed them to find calorie rich roots and tubers buried deep in the soil that they couldn't reach with just their hands. It's the difference between hoping you find something edible on the surface and actually being able to go get it. Do you think that kind of ingenuity is what really separates humans from other animals?
Yeah, and why was wood important for building shelters?
Because it gave us a way to actually control our environment. Before wood, humans were mostly relying on caves or just huddling together for warmth. Wood changed that because it's lightweight enough to move, but strong enough to hold up a roof. You could lash branches together with vines or leather to make a frame, then cover it with animal skins or mud to keep out the rain and wind. It basically meant we could live almost anywhere, not just where there happened to be a convenient rock overhang.
And what role did
Wait,
wood play in in farming?
I'm a little lost. Which formula are you referring to? Were you thinking about the chemistry of wood or something else
No, no.
entirely?
I'm asking like, what role did wood play, know, in farming?
Oh, in farming. That makes way more sense. Wood was basically like the engine of early agriculture. Think about the plow. The first versions were just heavy wooden frames that could break up the soil so seeds could actually grow. Then you had the fences to keep animals in one place and the granaries to store food so people didn't starve during the winter. It turned farming from a gamble into a reliable system. Does that make sense,
All
or
right.
do you want to know about some of the specific tools they used?
Okay. And why was wood important for transportation?
I think you're doing that thing again where you say food, but you mean wood.
Yeah,
If we're
wood.
talking about wood, it was everything, right? Wood, it was the only way to move anything heavy or go anywhere far. Most obvious one is the wheel. You can't have a cart or a chariot without wooden spokes and axles, but the real game changer was the ship. Wood allowed us to build hulls that could float and withstand the ocean, which is how different cultures finally started meeting, trading, and exchanging ideas. It basically shrunk the world. Do you
Yeah,
think we'd have discovered other?
and how did wood help
Exactly.
in hunting?
It gave early humans a huge tactical edge. Like we talked about with spears, wood allowed them to keep a safe distance from prey. But it wasn't just about the weapons. They used wood to build traps and blinds to hide from animals, and even created bows and arrows for precision from far away. It basically turned hunting from a risky scramble into a strategic game. Do you think the invention of the bow was the biggest leap in hunting, or was it something else?
No, I didn't kind of know about it. And why was wood essential for making weapons?
It absolutely was. Think about it. If you're going up against something with claws or huge teeth, you don't want to be in arm's reach. Wood provided the length and the leverage. Plus, it's relatively light, so you could carry a spear or a bow all day without getting exhausted. It was essentially the first piece of tech that let humans punch above their weight class in the animal kingdom.
Yeah, so how is wood used in homes?
Is pretty much the gold standard for building, even now. Historically, it was the only way to get a roof over your head. You'd use heavy logs for the main support beams and planks for the walls and floors. But it's not just the structure. Think about everything inside: the doors, the window frames, the cabinets, and for a long time, the furniture. It's that perfect mix of being strong enough to hold up a ceiling, but easy enough to carve into a chair or a table. Do you think modern homes feel less cozy because we use so much concrete and steel now?
Yeah. So, what furniture is made up from wood?
I think I see where you're going with this. If you mean that a huge part of the natural world is basically built from wood, then you're spot on. Forests are the lungs of the planet, and almost every ecosystem relies on those wooden structures for shelter, food, and stability. It's like the Earth's own skeleton. Is that what you were thinking, or are you looking at it from a different angle?
Yeah, you're kind of right about it. No, wherever you go, you will find a wood. Like it can be in forest, it can be in home. It can be anywhere. Am I right?
It really is, truly is. Whether it's a massive redwood in a forest or just a simple wooden spoon in a kitchen, it's always there in the background of our lives. Since we've covered everything from the chemistry of a tree to how it built our first cities, do you feel like you've got a good handle on wood, or is there another mystery about it you want to solve?
Yeah. So why are doors made of wood?
It's kind of the perfect material for the job. Think about it. You need something that's strong enough to keep a room secure, but light enough that you can actually push it open and shut 100 times a day without breaking a sweat. Plus, wood is a great insulator, so it helps keep the heat in during the winter and the cool air in during the summer. Metal doors are great for security, but they're cold and loud, and glass is too fragile. Wood just hits that sweet spot of being practical and feeling welcoming. Do you think we'll eventually stop using wood for doors, or is it just too classic to replace?
Yeah, you're kind of right about it. And what kitchen tools are made up of wood?
There's so many. The most obvious one is the wooden spoon. It's a kitchen staple because it doesn't scratch your pans and it doesn't conduct heat, so you don't burn your hand while stirring. Then you've got cutting boards, rolling pins for baking, and those classic honey dippers. Even some tongs and salad servers are made of wood because it just feels more natural. Do you have a favorite wooden tool in your kitchen, or maybe something your family always uses?
No, I didn't have any. Well, I'm having this question. What are the hardwoods?
Hardwoods are basically the heavy lifters of the tree world. Despite the name, it's not actually about how hard the wood feels to the touch, but how the tree reproduces. Hardwoods come from angiosperms, which are trees that produce seeds inside a fruit or a nut, like oak, maple, or walnut. They tend to grow slower and have a denser grain, which is why they're so prized for high end furniture and flooring. Do you want to know the difference between those and softwoods, or maybe which hardwood is the strongest?
Yeah, I know. What are the softwoods?
Softwoods are the opposite of hardwoods in how they grow. They come from gymnosperms, which are trees that produce naked seeds, usually in cones. Think of pine, cedar, or spruce. They generally grow much faster than hardwoods, and their structure is less dense, which makes them lighter and easier to work with. That's why you'll see them used so often for the framing of houses or for things like paper and cardboard. Um, do you think it's interesting that softwood doesn't always mean the wood is actually soft?
Yeah, you're kind of right about it. Can you give me some examples of hardwoods and you know, give me some examples of hardwood trees and softwood trees?
I've got you. For hardwoods, you've got things like oak, maple, walnut, and mahogany. Those are the ones usually used for fancy tables or floors because they're so durable. For softwoods, think of pine, cedar, spruce, and fir, the ones you'll see in Christmas trees or the studs inside the walls of a house. Does one of those sound more appealing to you for building something, or do you just like the variety?
I
Take your
kind of
time.
kind of feel
No
educational
rush.
today. You guide me some, you guide something very educational about the word wood. I'm so thankful to you, Maya. We will meet again
You're so
with some
welcome.
another topic. You have a good one, all right?
I had a blast diving into this with you. I'll be right here whenever you've got another topic you want to tear apart. You have a great one too.
No.
Bye for
तो व्यूअर्स ये थी हमारी आज की वीडियो। उम्मीद करता हूँ आपको कुछ ना कुछ नया और मस्बत सीखने को ज़रूर मिला होगा। मिलते हैं किसी नए वीडियो में किसी नए टॉपिक के साथ। तब तक के लिए अल्लाह हाफिज़।